Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the P.E.W podcast. And I am very, very pleased to introduce our guest today. It is none other than Big Daddy Unicorn himself, Jason Joshua.
Hello. Well, yeah. Hi. Um, yeah, I'm awkward. So this is going to be
No,
fun.
absolutely, no problem, no problem. We'll get some questions rolling and we'll get some conversation flowing for everybody. So. So, Jason, you were part of the very first P.E.W show way back.
Was yes.
So, talk about how it feels to go from that very first show to all the way now to 2025, where you are undeniably a fan favorite. How has P.E.W and Jason Joshua's involvement in P.E.W evolved over that time?
So my first match at Pew was a fatal four-way elimination match, and it was for the first internet champion. Uh, and I was first out. So um, we won the first matches. I was out in like 5 minutes. Um, and then Hood went on to win it. Um, and then yeah, it went from there. So it just started with a random message from Prestige that I'll be honest, didn't know him. I saw the message and I was like, oh, this is one of them weirdos that's trying to get me to didn't even know. And I was a bit like I was agreeing, I was a bit like, okay, let's see if this actually happens. And then I actually saw like stuff getting announced and being done proper, and I was like, okay, I need to be more trusting of people. But you know what it's like. You
Yeah.
get some weirdos that like, I want to book you on my card, and they've never run and they've never have any intention of doing it. And it's so, uh, but they booked me. It was, yeah, the first show I did a fatal four way. I'm trying to think what I did on the next show because I think overall I've only missed two, two Pew shows, maybe three. So I've been on all of them in some capacity.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it started with that. And then I got to wrestle Martin Kirby pretty early on, which was cool. I got to wrestle him a couple of times, which was cool. Um, I got to do, it was one of my first no DQ matches with Tyler Adams when I was sort of just starting to get into the no DQ hardcore stuff. So that was pretty cool. I went, I, I broke a steel chair and it nearly impaled me. If you watch the video back, one of the legs just goes vertical. Um, yeah, so we went from that little hall where people didn't really know what was happening to what we're doing now. When we were still in the hall, it was either a six or an eight man tag with you. I think
Yeah.
that was the first time we locked up because we had
Yeah.
met like 6 months before.
That's right. Yeah, we
And I
had.
didn't
Yeah.
realize until much later on, you'd saw me at a different show. And
Yeah,
it was
correct. Yeah. I met you
definitely
at a
like,
meet and greet, I believe it was.
yeah,
Yeah.
the photo's still on the phone.
Yeah.
Um, because you sent it to me, I was like, that's cool, and I saved that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so it was sort of felt like I was sort of floating around a little bit to the crowd were just getting behind my silliness. And then I think that let you put a bit more faith in what I was doing. And then I think it escalated from there to the point where it was like, I'm sort of here now, you can't really get rid of me.
Yeah,
So
the reactions you get from the PEW fans, it's something that you cannot ignore.
yeah, I'm quite proud of it, especially because like literally said I was in some like random stuff. Like I was in a four way. I was the first out. We did the multi-man. I did quite a few like multi-man tag stuff. So I was in a lot of 6-man, 8-mans, uh, intergender. I wasn't really doing anything. Um, like I was doing a lot, but I wasn't really doing anything. Like I was always guaranteed a show, a match, and they always put the faith in me to be like, "We trust you to be on our show." Uh, so I was doing the street fights, the tags and stuff, and then when we started sort of P started to move about a little bit more, I think it mixed up what they were doing a bit. That put me after the internet title, which I held for like 8 months,
It was a very long
and
time.
then
A very fun reign as well.
yeah, and then after that, obviously, I started chasing the heavyweight. So that's like over the last what year and a half, 2 years, it's either been holding or chasing something. So it's I literally went from early match, first out to I've main evented quite a few shows, including beating up the boss.
Yes, which we will certainly get into later on in this podcast. So yeah, you really have come full circle from like you say, opening matches, mixed tags, multi-man matches to main eventing PEW shows on quite a regular basis now. Certainly the one of the poster faces of the promotion. You mentioned you've advanced up and you're now entering rivalries for championships. One rivalry that I wanted to talk to you about. Tell me about your rivalry with Riley Nova.
Um, so I think it starts earlier than people think it did because I won the internet title off him and it was about 8 seconds, which is one of the shorter matches in Pew history. I think Ivy holds the record for the shortest. Um, in fact, I know she does. I just didn't want to give her credit. Um, so I beat him for that, and then obviously he beat me in about the same amount of time for the heavyweight belt. Um, and then we were just sort of given space to escalate it ourselves. So it was a yeah. Riley Nova is very, very good. Um, a lot of the people I've had the opportunity to work with at Pew are very, very good, which has helped me improve a lot. And I'm very grateful for it. And Riley Nova is one of the people I'm grateful to have worked with. As much as I don't agree with sort of the attitude and some of the tactics, to be in there with someone like Riley or like Bread for Better, Joe,
Mm.
people like that, you get better wrestling them. I'd like to think I got better wrestling them. I got to wrestle them a bunch of times, and every time I think I had to chase it that little bit more. And yeah, as much as it was a pain in the ass to chase and to have to keep going and to be screwed over, I think every time we stepped in, it helped me improve, and I got to take the belt back.
Absolutely. And what's it like sharing the ring with him?
Good work. Um, I am not a natural athlete. Um, I wasn't a sporty child. I wasn't a sporty teenager. Um, Wrestling's the first thing that kind of got me doing something. Wrestling got me more into the gym as well. So I have improved. But compared to someone like Riley, who is just this insane natural athlete, it it's it's hard work. He's got the gas tank like very few people do. He's tall and he's built and he's strong, and it's hard to keep up with someone like that. But it kind of forced me to. But if you look at their matches, I am breathing out my ears. Like, but it again, it helped me sort of step up to be like, I can do that 20 minutes, that 25 minutes. So Yeah, it was hard work.
Well, you
I think
certainly kept your own. You certainly kept your own.
we did two of our matches. We did, you know, where you lift someone in a power slam, you manage to get behind, and then you lift them, and we did that in two matches. And it was the most horrendous and tiring thing you can do. And then we had to keep going,
Yeah.
but he kept me going. So
No, very good, very good. So, um, are there any other notable opponents that you've shared the ring with that you want to tell us about? Any that come to mind?
I've had this, great opponents at Pew. Uh, January, I got to wrestle Joe Connors.
Yeah.
Like, that's Joe Connors. He's really, really good. Um, so obviously that's a really cool one. I've got to wrestle Martin Kirby a couple of times. Again, one of the best in the country. So
Yeah.
how can it not be a big thing? Um, I got to wrestle Adam Bolt for the first time at Pew. Again, really cool
Yeah.
to just work with someone that I think's amazing. I got to continue just this endless amount of matches with Joey Scott. We were the first people to use thumbtacks in Pew, and I have a feeling we'll be the last to use thumbtacks in Pew.
I
Um,
remember that show. Yeah.
yeah, so do I. It really hurt.
Yeah.
I had a plank of wood leg dropped into my groin.
You did
And
off the apron, wasn't it? That.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there is no wrestling way to protect against that, and it hurt, and I will struggle to forget it. Um, what else? I've got to do some really cool stuff. I got to be in a six-man tag with Sticks, and although he was on the team, but you know, Franco Fate, Nina Samuels, Kaya,
Yeah.
uh, God, who else was in that match? God, I don't know. I've had too many bumps on the head. Um,
Are
I think I've done every trick or treat street fight at Pew.
you are certainly the street fight specialist, I think, at this point for P.E.W. and especially at Halloween time. I don't know what it is about Halloween, but it always seems you always seem to get yourself into a trick or treat street fight.
Yeah,
How are
I don't
those?
know what's up.
Tell us about how those feel. What where do you get the ideas for what these wacky weapons and crazy moments that you create for us?
I don't know. So the most recent one was H Hood, and that hurt because we had fairly limited things. So the things that we could use hurt because we had plastic pumpkins and they sting. We
Mm,
had real pumpkins that are just heavy.
yeah,
Um, Hard sweets, which everyone's like, oh, they're just sweets, but hard sweets are like hitting little marbles.
yeah.
Um, who else? I wrestled Lance in one of them, and I tried to drown him.
I think I recall. Yeah, you were bobbing for apples, weren't you? Is that right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like a slip and slide. If people go back and watch the match, you see me, I go over. Um, and Lance uses it to do like a hair commercial. Um, who else? Was Joey Scott one of the trick or treat ones? I know I had a street fight with him, but I don't know if it was one of the trick or treat
No,
ones.
I think that was just a good old fashioned street fight.
It was
I
just
think
us
that was.
hitting each other, weren't it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else the other trick or treat ones were. I've done some weird stuff, so I lose track. But I think I must have done the most street fights at Pew.
I I I certainly think so. Yeah.
Not include like outside the trick or treats. There's been the Prestige at the last show. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
technically a street fight.
Yeah.
There's been Alton Thorn. That was
Yeah.
terrifying. I wrestled him twice that week, and both times it involved weapons.
Yeah.
And he currently has two deathmatch titles.
Yeah.
So,
Quite this
terrifying.
quite the scary opponent.
Yeah. Um, Who else? I'm sure there's more because I'm sure I've been through a couple of tables.
If anyone in the comments can re-jog Jason Joshua's memory after
Oh yeah,
this
I'm
is
sure
posted,
people remember better than I do.
be very much appreciative. Um, we wrestle so many
And
matches. Sometimes it doesn't
I've
always.
done a lot of street fights, and a lot of being thrown into things or throwing people through
Yeah.
things. I got to put Prestige through a table,
Oh, I'm
but I
sure.
also went through a table. I powerbombed Joey Scott off the second rope, which was terrifying for me. So God knows what it was like for him.
Yeah.
I military pressed him up, still step. Like I've done some silly stuff, and I don't know why.
Yeah, well, you've done it all in the name of entertainment for our P.E.W audience. Speaking of the P.E.W audience, tell us about what the P.E.W fans mean to you.
Well, I think that's obvious. I think I think without the fan base that Pew has, I don't think I would have done what I've had the opportunity to do at Pew. They support in sort of every way, even social media. They share everything. They communicate. Um, they're the first ones to put through for merch, and it's not just for me. Um, and they were the ones that got behind me to enough where it was to the point it was like, okay, we we can't ignore this.
Yeah.
So yeah, like great fan base.
Fantastic,
Just want it to
fantastic.
grow,
Yeah.
and I think it is slowly. So
Oh, most certainly. A very loyal, passionate fan base. They're
very
not
it feels
afraid
very
to ask.
community.
Yeah, a massive community. There's very much there very much feels that, when you are at the shows, um, and just very much not afraid to speak out for what they want to see as well. So they'll
Yeah,
very much,
they know what they want.
and I think PW does a fantastic job of listening to their fans as well.
Yeah.
So another match that's was very very well received was Team Bradshaw versus Team Taylor. Tell us about your experience in that match.
Yeah. So I mentioned it in part earlier. Can't remember everyone involved. Although I might have named everyone involved. Yeah. So it was me, Kaya Sticks, Joey Scott, Franco Fate, and Nina Samuels. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I did name everyone earlier.
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought there was someone extra on my team, but that someone extra was me. Um, yeah, and it was for Ryan Taylor's hair.
It was indeed, yeah.
Yeah. That was really fun. I did a flip dive in that match where I land on Joe Scott's head, and you see his head bounce off the floor.
Mm,
Um, yeah. Dave Bradshaw speared Ryan Taylor. I remember that, and then we had to pin him down and shave his head. But
yes,
it was a it was a really sort of loopy six man that kind of went everywhere. There was
yeah.
a bit of everything. There was brawling, dives. There's Kaya getting murdered at one point. Um, I think that might have been what led to me and Joey Scott having a street fight.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think there was some definitely some fallout that spilled over for the next couple of shows, I think, with various parties involved. But
We did get to
what
shave
a
Ryan Taylor's head, so
yeah. How did
yeah,
that fit? What's that like to shave another man's hair?
it's fun. But the shaver wasn't very good. But we got enough off that he had to go shave it off anyway.
That's
So
it.
I
That's the
enjoyed it.
goal. Yeah.
I don't know if
Get enough of the hair
there
off.
was a lad. I know there was a lad that found some of the hair and framed it. I don't know if he's still got it, but he
Fantastic.
had it in one of them little like the frames that like morph around what you put in it.
Yeah.
He had it in one of them.
If
I
if
remember that. He wore it to the
if
next
this
show
fan
as a
is
necklace.
watching, please comment a photo if you have that framed hair. We would love to see that.
Yeah, I'm sure he wore it at the next show as like a necklace in the frame,
And this
which
is
I thought was incredible.
this is why we love our P.E.W fans. They really are some of the best fans out there. So we mentioned earlier that you had a street fight with the Prestige. Now,
Yes.
tell us what it's like working with the boss.
Uh, Honestly, you get that worry because you're working with a boss. So it's one of them like, yeah, like you've got like, what do you do? You've either got to go all in or run away.
Yeah.
So I went all in and I slapped him in the face
Mm,
and I put him through a table and I got him with a fire extinguisher and wet floor sign, which I don't know how much detail I can go into that because uh it clapped. So you've got to go for it, yeah.
yeah.
Um, Still need to get 40 back for that though, interfering in my matches.
Oh, don't get me started on 40. Yeah.
Pain in the bum. So is family, to be fair. This goes out to them as well. We see you interfering in matches.
Yeah, see, I've not been around for a while, but I've been keeping tracks on what's been happening, and I'm not sure I agree with that.
I mean, can't say I agree with it, but I can't say I do different for my family. But
Very fair. So I'll just take this quick opportunity to plug some social media. So we can follow you, I believe, on Instagram at Jason Joshua Pro. Is that correct?
yes, you can find me on everything at Jason Joshua Pro.
And that is across all
Instagram,
social platforms.
yes, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, even though I don't really use it.
Yeah, very good.
Threads, TikTok.
Yeah.
I think even my YouTube is Jason Joshua Pro now. There's nothing on there, but like,
Ah, very good, very good. And you can follow Phenomenal Elite Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram at Phenomenal Elite Wrestling. You can follow us on X at PEW_wrestling. And why not check out our YouTube channel where we have every PEW show on YouTube for free. So you can watch every Jason Joshua match from the very beginning to 2025. Also consider following the PEW Patreon account where you will be given a range of benefits depending on which tier you choose. So why not check those out? Now, let's move on, Jason, to let's talk about favorite matches. So, your favorite match, do you have a favorite match that you've had in PEW? One that really sticks in that you finished the evening and you thought that is that's my favorite. I don't think I'm going to top that for a while.
I think probably the legacy one with Riley Nova.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we've already said I've got the opportunity to do some really cool stuff with PE. So it's quite a long list of different people and match types that I can be like, it was fun and it was great. Um, but I think it was such a point of the story and the match and everything had just sort of gone to plan and it nearly didn't happen and then it did and then yeah, I think that's got to be my favorite one so far.
Yeah, and such a good story that was told. So a real credit to the pair of you for entertaining the crowd and keeping people invested, and wanting to watch that match. They were really excited for that main event on that show. I recall,
Yeah, it felt like a lot of pressure.
but I think you performed very well under pressure, if I can say that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it turned out all right.
yeah, I think it did. Yeah. Um. What was it like winning that world championship?
Again, it was the stuff behind it that helped it get to the point of like where it did. Like the fan support to get me to that point and following me to it, and then actually getting to that final bit, and then them all trying to get me to speak afterwards, and I could get like one line out because I was tears in my eyes because it felt like the hard work had actually like led to led to it and had such a positive vibe by the end of it. So it was like, yeah, it was just loud and emotional, and it was really cool.
Yeah,
So
amazing,
I
amazing.
just wish I'd kept my hands on it a little bit longer to keep it going, but it
Well,
doesn't always work like that.
the chase never ends, does it? I guess.
I've got a rematch coming
Good.
eventually.
We'll get there. We will get there. And do we have a dream P.E.W match that you've not yet had a chance to have? Any particular opponent that you felt you've not had a chance yet to lock up in the ring? And is there anybody on your radar?
I want to say Smashing Mike because we've never crossed paths in any way,
Yeah,
but he's also so constantly moving and physically just constant. I don't know if I would survive, not just the match, just in general. Um, I'd like to get a proper match with Jack Selstrom
yeah.
because we've only ever sort of crossed paths in multi-mans. Um, and then he attacked me a couple of shows back.
Mm,
I'd like another shot at Joe because in mine and Joe's match, I got injured about 30 seconds in.
oh, what happened?
Um, so my arm got stuck on the mat. Um, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but my elbow went that way about 30 seconds into the match.
Okay.
So the entire match you can see me sort of
Yeah,
because
try and get that
up
feeling
until
back.
recently it was still affecting me. It's only been like the last week or so that it hasn't, but it affected the entirety of my forearm. Um, just my arm got stuck on the mat for some reason. Um, so I'd like to do that without panicking that my arm was going to get worse because that weren't on Joe and it weren't on me. It was just one of them things, and then it sort of threw me off for the rest of it.
But
Um,
for people who aren't quite clued in, like you would be surprised. It's always the most minor little things where we can get really hurt.
yeah,
Because
it's never the stupidly dangerous stuff. It's it's stepping out the ring. It's uh, jumping onto the ropes or off the ropes and rolling your ankle. It was literally my hand was on the mat and my arm moved and my hand stayed in place. And there was no reason that my hand should have stayed in place on the mat, and it just popped my elbow, and it would just it caused it must have been some kind of muscle thing,
yeah,
but like you see me the entire way through the match, just sort of shaking out my hand and my wrist.
yeah. Well,
Um,
fair
so
play
I'd
for
like,
you for continuing. That's shows some grit.
I'd like to do that properly. Trying to think who else, because I've worked with such a majority of the Pew roster at this point.
Yeah,
I
it's
really wanted to work with Ivy, but she retired before
yeah,
that got a chance to happen. So um, I I'm looking forward to wrestling Franco Fate. I think that's going to be
yeah, very much
fairly
so.
intense
And that
because he's a
that will be taking place on Saturday, the 19th of April.
it
P.E.W.
will.
Bangers in Ettington. Tickets are available.
They are, and come and watch me wrestle and get battered. But keep going anyway because I'm tough as. and come cheer me on and keep me safe because I get married 4 weeks after, so I can't risk getting hurt.
Oh no, yes, we need to keep you safe for that. 100%,
He's a
100%.
big, meaty, scary man
He is
that
indeed.
has
Yeah.
that has clotheslined my head off before.
I don't
So
I don't think you realize until you see Franco Fate in person just how
he's massive.
thick his back
Yeah,
is, how just a very very large man
yeah,
and hard hitting as well.
yeah. I get people commenting on my strength, and he makes me look weak.
Wow.
So
Saying something that
it'll
very
be a fun one.
um
We'll have to see what happens.
yeah, it'll be a very very entertaining match. I am very very much looking forward to seeing that. We also have coming up, not announced officially, but announced kind of officially, is that we're having a mixed tag team tournament coming up. And
Yes.
will we be seeing Big Daddy Unicorn potentially?
Unfortunately, I am not there for the mixed tag team
Oh,
tournament.
okay.
Um,
I think you've earned a rest, I will say.
yeah. It'll be either the third or fourth Pew show I've ever missed. But unfortunately, I'm not there. But I'm sure whoever is going to have a whole of a show.
Yeah.
And I'd want to say, oh, so and so is my favorite, but I don't know who's involved.
And this is the thing,
So
yeah. Keep an eye on the P.E.W social media, and potentially we might see some teams announced. So keep an eye on that. Watch that space. We have got 2.5 minutes left because the Vegan Prescott is quite a cheap man, and he has a trial account with Zoom, so he only gets a certain amount of time. So. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss really quickly, Jason Joshua, before we say goodbye?
I know you've put me on the spot. I've already spoke about like my favorite stuff and how grateful I am to the fans. Um, I try and plug that I've got new merch coming, but they're already aware of it,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I've already
keep
had
plugging.
people try and order it.
There might be people that might not know. So plug the shirts. What have
I've
we got?
I have the Jason Joshua action figure T-shirt
Oh, very good.
coming out in the relatively near future, but I think I need to get my wedding out of the way first. Um, just as a personal brag, I am getting married on May 17th, and I am telling everyone because I'm excited.
How exciting.
Um, we actually went for I want to say the confirmation today, so why not tell everyone about that?
Yeah,
So yeah, it's official, May 17th. I will be a married man.
that's it. From
So
everybody
yeah,
from everybody who works for PW and all of the fans, we would love to say to you, congratulations.
thank you.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, that's it. We're all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, I think we could probably wrap it up there on that happy note. And I just want to thank you for sharing your experiences. And I'm sure we've got enough content from you to do another couple of these podcast episodes. But yeah, any closing words for our PW fans?
Um, don't become a wrestler. It hurts. I'm 31. I've got a bad shoulder, a bad hip, a bad knee, and no hair. Don't do it.
Fantastic. And on that note, we will see you at our next show, PW Bangers, Saturday, 19th of April. Thank you so much, Jason Joshua. I've been the Vegan Prescott, and we will see you soon.